everybody. I am Poop Witch X, and I am joined today on this episode of Coven Conversations with C-Dub Gaming. How are you doing?
And the crowd goes mild. No, I'm kidding.
They're going to go crazy for you, C-Dub.
I'm so good.
First of all, before we even start, what are your pronouns?
My pronouns are he, him.
Okay, and also, what is on your shirt?
This right here, this is
Yes.
actually, so this is Ty Screams merch.
Oh,
Community, not competition. This was kind of when we were talking there, you know how the Twitter conversations go around where it's like, oh, we're all competing for viewers. No, we're all together. But Ty made this and I love it. It's one of my favorite things to own. So
I want to get one. I didn't know that was Ty's. It's amazing. And we love Ty. Ty is one of our side quests. We love. Let me tell you something. You are amazing and I appreciate you. And I appreciate that you love that sentiment because that's not a sentiment that a lot of streamers feel. And it's actually really, I think, a disparaging part of the content creator culture is like people look at each other as competition. You know what I mean? So I love that you're wearing that. That's amazing.
I have like I get like really not twisted about it, but I just am like, listen, this is the way this company works. Twitch is a business and they do things in a way that promotes capitalism. So we can't do that because we will eat each other alive. That is what we will do. It's so true.
And honestly, Twitch is a forum that I feel like is big enough for all of our corners. And you are, your corner is yours and it's uniquely yours. And you don't need to look at somebody else's and be like, well, what am I doing? Look at it and be inspired. Like, look at it and be like, that could be my friend. It doesn't need to be that you want to take and be jealous. And it's so much more than that.
I went to PAX East this weekend and I literally was like, I came away and I was like, I can literally do anything I want. The only walls are the ones I put up around me. So I was like, this is where my mind's at right now. I was like, I can do whatever I want in this space.
Tell me everything about PAX East. I've never been. How was it?
Oh my gosh, it was so much fun. If you go to gaming conventions, I don't know if that's your thing or if you've ever been to anything like that before, but it's very cool, right? Like lots of booths, lots of stuff to look at. I mean, I love a window shopping. So like, I'm just like walking all around looking at everything. So
what was like, because I've never been to a con. I'll be going to TwitchCon this year for my first
I will
ever.
too.
Yes.
Let's
go. If I don't get a hug that cracks a rib, I'll be very upset.
Oh, absolutly. Okay. 100%. Full bear hug.
I will put that on my checklist. Like, must be rib cracked from C-Dub. So how would you feel like when you approached PAX East? Because I think a lot of us are sort of getting our, like, as TwitchCon Amsterdam tickets were released today, like, what do you think that people should utilize these cons as? Like, what is the goal? What are you there for? What's the vibe?
So I will say, this was my first time ever going to PAX, and I had no clue what I was going into. And I actually did that intentionally because I didn't want it to have I didn't want to have it shaped by anybody else, or I didn't want them to kind of tell me what to do. I knew there'd be panels available. I knew that there'd be lots of like great information being shared. Right. But I didn't really look and see like what games were going to be there or what game designers. I didn't really spend a lot of time like trying to plan like meeting up with people. I just wanted to see who was there, and I had the best time not going in with a game plan.
Okay, so that's actually really interesting advice because I feel like a lot of people, because they are short, you want to go in with like a game plan and be like, I want to do this and this and this, but you feel like going in kind of winging it made it an even better experience.
So I pulled up the app, and it's got a really nice program where like you can go through all the panels and you can just like add them to your personal calendar, which makes it really easy. You get like notifications on your phone. So but I also was just like, I want to go pick up a board game. So they have like in the back, they have like a board game library that you can just borrow games and play them with people, which is awesome. Oh my
God, that's awesome.
Yeah. So I met a lot of like fellow streamers, which was really great. Lots of people I didn't even know were going to be there.
Wow.
I sat in this really amazing networking panel that there were several like game like marketing managers or community managers that were there that were just kind of like, hey, here's how you can contact us in the age of COVID, right? Like, we do not want to sit on Skype, or they're like Skype. Who uses fucking Skype? Pardon my language.
You heard my Skype jingle at the beginning. You got confused. I get it. I totally get it.
No, like they were like, we don't want to be on Zoom. They're like, but if you want to hang out in Discord or play a game with us, or if you want to just like literally send us messages on Twitter, we'll get back to you. And if we don't get back to you, we're people, and that's just the way it is.
I love that.
I did too.
What is some of like the advice that they said? Because I think one of the biggest things is there's a weird like vibe about the word networking in the like creator. It's sort of like one of those words where if you use it correctly, it doesn't have that like kind of vibe. But if you use it incorrectly and you network incorrectly, where you self-promote and it's very obvious that you're trying to get something from somebody else.
Yeah.
What would they say? Like, what were some of the tips that they said?
Yeah, so they basically said it is almost immediately obvious if you're only there for the interaction or something. Yeah. And they would rather you just walk straight up and be like, I would like this, so they can turn you down and move on.
Ooh, shorty.
So yeah, I know. I was like, ooh, come on.
Aggressive. Okay.
But they basically were just saying like, go talk to people, like develop a relationship. Please don't give us a business card. We will throw it away. Like, you know what I mean? But they're like, hey, if you meet somebody here on the show floor, and you like their game, you say, hey, would it be okay if I reached out to you on Twitter? They may not remember you in that moment, but if you do send them a message and be like, hey, I met you on the show floor, like that's probably enough to strike up a conversation of some sort.
That's awesome. I also think that that's a really important thing, is that creating like I don't know, not everything can be a friendship, especially when you're talking about like businesses, like gaming. Like they're not going to probably want to be your friend, but with other content creators, networking should really be replaced with like just being friends. Like that's how you really make those connections that feel genuine and sincere, and that you're not trying to, do anything. You just want to hang out, and that should be your primary goal of every interaction you have,
Yeah. So Tiltify had some people there, right? So Miss Ash Rocks was there.
Yeah, we love Tiltify.
Yes. And she was just like, hey, I'm outside. You want to chat? I know that you're here. And we like just met up after a panel, and we just hung out for like 10 minutes, but it was super chill. There was zero anything, but at the surface level, we were both just trying to connect, to be like, let's figure out how we can work together, or let's figure out what we can do to, get involved in like the next, it's just something like that. They just did them today, right? They usually do like a community spotlight thing today or something like that, and on their channel, or just in general to connect. And I thought that was really cool. They did some like after party kind of just small get together things as well, just to bring charity people together, which where would you ever do that at besides like TwitchCon or PAX,
And I have to say that Tiltify is exceptionally good at making what feels like, because they're a company, right? But they feel like you are your friend. Like I talk to Tiltify all the time. Like all different people from Tiltify, and I don't know if I'm allowed to, maybe I'm not allowed to tell them, but like the community spotlight sounds like something might be happening for me and the Poop Coven soon. So like I don't know if I'm allowed to say it or not. So sure. Cough. But I love Tiltify, and I think they're a great example of setting up friendships that feel like you're talking to a real person. You're not talking to someone who doesn't really care. They genuinely care. They want to be a part of it, and they don't look at you as like a number or a statistic. They look at you as your own individual person, which is amazing.
And they do this too, right? Like most of them are streamers already, that are just like, also now this is like a job. Like that, how cool is that to be like, all right, not only am I doing this thing I love, but now I'm also like helping influence all of these other people that are doing this thing that they love as well. I think that's what's really cool about it.
It's so cool. So as a content creator, like when did you get started? How did your journey begin?
Ooh, I mean, I was a COVID content creator. I came right on board.
Did you know about Twitch before?
No, listen, so I had just discovered Twitch in any capacity in like January of 2020. So I started watching a couple channels, and then boom. Like I met some friends. I discovered Discord, which is like how I basically stayed sane through that like initial lockdown period. And then I don't know. I just thought I really want to do it. I have always been in my spare time. Like I've always done performance. Like I've done improv comedy, sketch comedy, all sorts of stuff around the area here, and that all went away. It just was gone. Right. And I was like, so what am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to supposed to? Well, originally I was like, how am I supposed to get this applause that I need? No, but I was like, how am I supposed to be able to like use that muscle and flex that muscle? Right. And it became something totally more than that, right? Like I have had the opportunity to meet so many cool people. I got to go meet my mods, which is amazing. I've got to like we've raised so much money for charity, and I just want to keep raising more. Like I don't want to, I only want to do that now. So
yeah, I love that. Also, I was an actress for years, a long time ago, a lifetime ago, essentially. But I sort of found streaming about 5 years ago when I was like acting, but I was like, it doesn't really feel exactly right. I'm gonna try this. And my husband then, who was like my boyfriend, I don't even know. He was like, he was just there. He's been asking me to do streaming since I was like 18. He was like, you should do it. And I really, part of me was like, damn it, why didn't I listen? But at the same time, I wouldn't have found the people I found now, because your journey is different depending on, where you go and how you go about it. But I do feel like streaming lends itself if you were in the entertainment. So you did improv, you did comedy, and you had that muscle already there. And then you stream, and it's sort of like you're just being yourself, and you get to just be yourself. And that is its own form of, at least for me, I'm just like my own form of entertainment.
I mean, absolutely. Yes. Absolutely. Like that, just to be able to like, be that amplified version of yourself, and it's not even like that amplified. It's not fake, not fake in any way. It's just like turned up to 10. Like that's that. You're you, but like you're you all the way. So yeah, I was like, oh, I get to be fully me in my own space I created, and I get to do stuff for other people. Right. Cool. I'm here for it. That sounds great.
It's amazing. And I think like, did you ever do acting, or was it more of just like improv and sketch comedy?
I dabbled in a Fiddler on the Roof in high school.
Ooh, look at you. I was a flying monkey in middle school for Wizard of Oz. Okay. We're professionals. We're professionals. So would you because one of the things we were talking about is how like brutal, like actually I was talking about this today, how brutal and how hard the entertainment field is. And then when you stream, it's like, you don't need to get validation from anyone else. You carve your own little corner, and it's uniquely yours. And when you're an actor or a comedian, you're constantly needing approval from your agents, from your managers, from the people in the audience, from society. But Twitch feels like it's your love poem to people, and either they like it or they don't, and if they don't, they can move on, and they don't have to be approved. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I think that so I've been saying this for a long time, like the nature of entertainment, but even more so like comedy has shifted so much from like, you got to go in, you've got to audition, you got to do this. That's not true. I can literally pick up my phone and post TikToks and get real popular really fast,
So true.
And so I basically was like, all of the artificial gatekeeping we created is gone. You don't have to.
Really good point.
You don't have to do that anymore. I mean, there's still plenty of industries that do it, but like, there's lots of ways to do what you want to do, however you want to do it. And any kind of digital format you want to do it in now. And I think that's what's really cool, because Twitch is a space that lets you do that. I mean, you don't have to play video games. There's tons of people that have never played a video game on their channel,
I think that's like an amazingly unique perspective of that. Because when I was acting, there was no TikTok. There was like Instagram, there was Twitter, but there was no TikTok. There was nothing there was like Vine. It was like that era. So it is interesting that I think Hover and TikTok and things like that have changed how people can get like a base of their, group, like how you get like a basis of a community, how you get a basis of like, I guess if you're an influencer, what do you call them? Fans? I don't know. I feel like, and I think that that's interesting that you're like, the world has changed and evolved, and we don't need those archaic, like walk in with your headshot, with your resume, and basically grovel at the feet of the 5 people who are staring at you, and you can get what you need in different avenues. So do you do a lot of social media?
I mean, no, because I'm also 40, so I don't really. It's like not part of my life. So
I feel that so hard.
Like it's like a chore, I would say, to do it. So it's not like something that kind of comes organically, where I'm just like whipping like my phone out and doing stuff. Like I actually have to like think through stuff or edit. But I also am like, nah, that's just the way it is, right? Like I think it was like I was watching maybe like Evel Queen's stream one time, and they were basically like, if you're not on like at least 2 different mediums, like you might like you're not reaching enough people. You're just like talking to the same people over and over again.
Yeah.
And you take all the metrics piece out of it. I mean, it really is true. Like, how are you going to meet new people? You can't like just drag people from another channel. You can't drag people from other mediums. So you really do have to like be out there. So like people could be like, hey, I thought that was really funny. That was really interesting.
It's true.
That person failed really hard at that game,
Well, I also think that, so much of when you get a raid, right? It's such an incredible feeling that another content creator thought of you, trusted you with their community, but you're not like, I've never thought of a raid as like, oh, let me get these people. It's almost like, hey, welcome into my community. If you like it here, please stay and hang out. And if you don't, that's okay. I completely understand. Or if you're just tired, like there shouldn't be an expectation. So you can't, and also Twitch's algorithm is set against smaller creators. I mean, we just don't, even like the women's front page shelf, the Black History Month shelf, like that did not do what it was supposed to do. I'm sure that the LGBTQIA Pride Month is not going to do it either, because they're not fixing what the problem is. The same largest creators are always showcased on the front page every single day, and they don't really showcase anyone who's smaller. Like they don't. They sort of say they're going to, but then like they're like, yeah, but like we're gonna bury you 10 clicks down on, So it's hard to work the Twitch algorithm to get growth. So you do have to find other avenues like TikTok, like Hover, like Twitter, Instagram. And if you don't do those things, like you said, it's hard to knock on the same door over and over. So I
also think too, like at its core, right? I know I said this earlier, but like Twitch makes money. It's a business. It's trying to make money, this, that, and the other. But like, there are plenty of people inside Twitch that work at Twitch that are trying to fix the problem too. So like, when people are just like, Twitch doesn't care about us, blah 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 blah. It's not really for you to like step on like people's livelihoods that are really trying to be doing that stuff for us. Like,
I love you. Do you know how rare? Because like one of the things is, and I say this all the time, I'm not a bandwagon like jump in with my pitchfork. Like I give Twitch the benefit of the doubt, and a lot of streamers that I know like won't do that, and they are so quick to be like they're the villain, they are the problem, but then they're like going live in 5 minutes, and I feel like that feels very hypocritical to me. You can be critical of the company you work for, and you can say we want improvements, we want this, but I always feel like you said, it's an enormous, gigantic monster. It's like a monster company. It's like trying to turn the Titanic. They can't make immediate changes in a day. Should some things be faster? Like the tags, the trans tags that we demanded and things like that? Of course.
Absolutely.
But, like, not everything can be changed in a minute. And I do think that some people within Twitch are trying. And I appreciate your sentiment so much, see that. Because I feel so alone sometimes, because people are so quick to react aggressively. Do you feel that way? Yeah,
and I think that it is like, it's hard too, because like a lot of these things that people are reacting to do attach to their identity, right?
Of course,
they do attach, so they are passionate about them. But I just think we have to be conscious of like, listen, that we from my perspective, we have queer brothers, sisters, and others just in there doing the work for us. You know what I mean? So I'm like, you can't be mad that we're just now getting it. I mean, you could be disappointed, but like when you like, do these blanket statements, I mean, there's people that, there are our peers,
they're trying, right?
And it's just like any place, like there are peers that work at a place that wants to make the most money. You know, I don't know.
Right.
I'm sure you saw on Twitter, like people were commenting all day long about the like kind of like notes that came out or whatever Twitch was like thinking about. But it's just like, we don't have to get into that piece of it. But it's just like, but I'm like,
oh yeah, I saw it.
But I'm like, yeah, they had a business planning meeting next. Right. You know what I mean? Like they were just trying to think about like how they're going to move forward, you know, and you don't have to like it, but it's like, okay, well, chop somewhere else.
I also think that a big thing is like a discussion doesn't mean it's happening. And I think that like, I do like, and I've talked about this on other podcasts. I've talked about this privately. I do feel like there is nowhere else for most of us to go. There's really nothing that competes with Twitch. You know, YouTube is like, okay, I don't even know how it really works. I still can't seem to find where people actually go live. Facebook gaming pales in comparison to Twitch. And really the only thing that stood close was Mixer, and Mixer went out of business. So, you know, the reality is like, I don't believe in setting your own house on fire. There's nowhere else for us to go, and Twitch doesn't necessarily have to do anything. You're still gonna stream here. So the fact that they are trying, albeit maybe not in the time frame that we want it to be, or the way they're going about it is the way we want it to be go about. They are trying. Do you get surveys from them like every day?
From Twitch? I've gotten some.
I get like a survey a day. I swear, the more you submit surveys, the more they send you them. They're like, oh, this one will do them. This one's doing them. Because I got another survey today about the Women's History Month shelf and my reaction to it. And I actually haven't filled it out yet. I'll do it tomorrow. But I'm excited to share my feedback because I hope it helps with the Pride Month. Because so far, when the Black creators were outspoken about the problems, it was not fixed the month after. And I am upset because I don't think it will be fixed.
I just think about this. It probably is not going to be. Okay, so I'm going to use this analogy. Like when Walmart came to my town, like when I was growing up, huge deal. And then of course, what Walmart does is it does everything cheaper on a bigger scale. So like mom and pop's like going to go away. And so like now Walmart gets all this negative press, right? Okay. Walmart's not going to go away, right? Like you could be mad all you want, but the Walmart's there. Like that's where you have to shop now, right? Walmart is Twitch in this analogy.
Right.
So what you can do though, is you can push back and be like, okay, but if you're going to work there, they need to be paid a living wage, stuff like that. Right. So like the things like voting on the forums where you can like make ideas and suggestions and things like that, which is like where the pronoun tags and things like that came from. Like, there are mechanisms in place. Now, that's not saying they're going to necessarily react to them, because at the end of the day, maybe it's not cost effective. But like, you can't just be mad at the system. You have to use the pieces of the system, and then you can be like, it's not working. You know, like because then there's measurable proof that it's not working.
Right, and I think that also like saying certain things that when we don't know the behind the scenes. And listen, a lot of people are like, Twitch is owned by Amazon. We know what Amazon is. We all know that, in theory, do we do, the 50-50 split, the pay split? Like, do we know, I'm pretty sure that they could do a more advantageous split for streamers to receive. I'm almost positive they can. But the reality is like, we don't know what discussions are actually happening. We know that they released this thing that, stirred up a frenzy, on Twitter. And I do think that like they spitball ideas, they change, they pivot. And I'm along for the journey because I've seen, even since the 5 years I've been streaming, so much progression. I mean, when I first started streaming as a woman on Twitch, I was not left alone about my appearance for a single moment. No matter what I was wearing, no matter what I was doing, it did not matter. And that level of trolling just isn't existing in my stream anymore. And I don't know if it's because the climate of Twitch is just sort of changed. You get you still get trolls, I still get hate rated, but it just feels like it was normalized that trolls were everywhere. Every community that I went into was like borderline toxic when I first started streaming. And now I feel like there's so many pockets of kindness and inclusivity. And I think that is a great change. I really do.
I think too, like we care more about the community than the games now.
Right. Yeah.
So like, you were talking earlier before you started about like, hey, you were talking to your community. You were saying like, y'all know what to do if we get raided, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
That's what you have to do. You have to turn not just your mods into mods, but you get to like turn like your entire community to moderate, to let it moderate itself, because in that way, then you're like not micromanaging it, right? You get to like step outside of it and actually be a part of it, which is
the best. Oh, that's such a good point. That is, and that's on cultivating a community that, you know, you don't, you know, I allow like little, like, oh, you know, people poke fun at me all the time. It's easy. I make myself into an easy target, but they really do, like, you can cultivate a community that feels like a family and it's cohesive and everyone is in the same mindset about how the community should feel and function. So when we do get a raid, like you said, everyone knows the deal. Like, everyone knows what to do. And I do think that is, you know, what we're seeing more and more now. I completely agree. I love that.
I saw somebody post on Twitter, if somebody in your chat is making you uncomfortable, they're making somebody in your community even more uncomfortable than you, because you as a streamer can just deal with it. And so you have a higher tolerance for a discomfort. So there's already somebody in your chat that like probably left or is considering leaving because they don't want to be there anymore. And they're just like, you know, it's like, just get clean house, right? Like if you show your community that we recycle here, they're going to recycle naturally, you know, like
you said, oh my God, I love that. If we show your community that we recycle here, oh my God.
No, we don't throw the plates. We don't throw our stuff away. Okay. We recycle.
Oh my God. That is amazing.
We sort our trash here.
Oh, you need to make that into like a merch thing. And then it's like we sort our trash. We sort our trash with like a trash can with like the word troll going into it or something. Like, I don't know what you need to do, but that is amazing. And it's so true. Like, you do need to be okay with banning people. That's something that took me a really long time to learn, that like I have had mods years ago who just should never been modded. Also, this is a number 1 rule. If people like really push you to mod them, they're probably the worst person to mod, because you should almost ask people who are already act like mods and they already behave like mods, and then when you ask them, it's just like slipping on a glove that already fits. People who persistently, those were people that I modded when I first started streaming, who persistently asked me, and then when I gave it to them, they used it against me, and it was a very complicated relationship. It felt very tenuous. And so I do believe that like even people who you've modded, who you've had a relationship with, they might not be having your best interest in heart. And it's okay to say, this relationship is not agreeable with me. Right. We have to part ways. And it's okay to do that with people who are making you uncomfortable, genuinely making you uncomfortable, or making others uncomfortable. And that's like an okay thing. I
also think like all of our mods deserve the world, but also too, we have to remember that modding in a channel is the hall guard. You're like the crossing guard, right? Like all you're doing is just making sure people follow rules, right?
Right.
And so like, it's not a power trip. You're not like some sort of like ban hammer person. Like that shouldn't be the way it's treated.
Don't awaken the mods. They're gonna start spamming ban emotes and stuff. But it's true. And I think also like mods are sort of the backbone of your community, right? So like they are the face. So when you go into a community, and I don't know if you ever had that, the mods are really strict and they're kind of like, you know, make you feel a little like oogie, and they're not welcoming. They're more like, read the rules before you come in here. Do you like, it makes you like a little nervous, you know, you're like, oh gosh, like
why does it have to be like that?
Exactly. They should be a reflection of your channel, and they should like want the best for your community, because they are also doing this out of the kindness of their heart. Like for most mods, they're just doing this because they care, and that's such an incredible gift. And I'm always telling my mods, I'm like, please do less. Stop doing so much stuff for me, because like you are too wonderful. And they're like, shut up, we're doing even more stuff for you now. I'm like, I'm going to chokehold you all. Like, you know, but that's like their temperament. Like that's, you know, their vibe. And so I do feel like that. So for your content, you like doing charity. Did you start off doing charity? Was that something you were always focused on?
No, actually, the first charity event that we did was it was for the online games and harassment hotline. But that was the first thing. Like it was just kind of like a friend asked me, it was like, hey, do you want to help us? Do you want to participate? But I was just like, oh, like I really didn't. Because in my head I was like, I don't know, people are going to give like $10. I don't know. Like I wasn't sure like what. Because I was like, I set the goals really low, and like I forgot people love to do good, you know, like, and ultimately like, and they love to do, and they don't even like care about incentives necessarily. Like people just want to do good things.
Right.
And so like, you know, even, so then we, and then we kind of like really like, we did like we did like Make-A-Wish for Christmas that year, and that was it. That was like when I was like, I love this. We're like the wheels are like all like, you know, everything was firing the way it was supposed to.
Right.
And everybody was just in the zone. So I was like, that's when I was like, I want to do this. I want to do this quarterly. You know, I set a goal. We hit it last year. This year I set another goal where I was like, I want to be able to, you know, I want to, like, we had raised I think we raised like 10K total. I was like, I want to raise 10K this year. Do you know what I mean? Like, and so we're on our way there, you know, like we're already a fifth of the way there for the, you know, where we're at in the year, which is, and we've got a couple of cool things coming up. So I was like, we can absolutely do this. You know, I just have to be, if I want to hit this goal, like I need to be strategic about it. It's not about hitting the number. It's just like, I think that we could exceed this goal. It's just an arbitrary, you know, biomarker.
Right. And I think the thing about charity is like, I find that it's sort of interesting. I feel like whenever I do a charity event, first of all, I always make sure like it feels like a partnership with the charity. It feels like we are working together. That's something that I am really, it's really important to me that because I have a lot of charities reach out to me, like a lot. And a lot of them just see my Tiltify number and they don't really care about anything else. And although all charities have their founding and they all have their merit, I hate the idea that somebody just is scrolling through Tiltify, sees how high our number is and goes, oh, I'm just going to send her a message. They don't even know my name. They don't know my community's name. And they're just like hoping that they'll get a grab, because reality is that all charities are important, but my poop coven, my community, I'm very protective of them. And there are also charities that I do feel like, might not be standing for what they are saying they are, and you have to vet them and make sure that they're actually legit, and they are, you know, so, and they're going to use the money how they say they're going to use the money, because I will throw down for all of my people. Like I protect them. So when I have an interview with a charity event, I'm, as much as they're, you know, we're talking about their cause, I'm also trying to feel them out in general, like what their company actually stands for, because there is a lot of companies that are not on the up and up. So you should definitely do your research, and you definitely should vet them. And if you can get a liaison at the charity to have a sit down meeting with you, so that you know that you're on the same page and that they are going to do what they say they're going to do with the money, and that also they care about you and your community, because they should know that your community is like, you treasure them and you want to make sure that they're, you know, taken care of, and I'm very protective. So I will vet them, and I'll sit down with any charity that I believe in. I sit down and I will talk to them for sometimes like an hour, 2 hours, and then it becomes a partnership. Then we come up with incentives, then we come up with giveaways, and we work together to have these goals so that it feels like I'm quadruple as passionate as I would be, because we're in it together, you know, and it feels even more exciting in that way.
I will say this, like, and I've only been, you know, like I said, I've only been like charity fundraising for like a little over a year, but like, it's, you can really quickly tell if somebody's just there for your community, like, and not with you in it. They're just trying to get you as part of this like larger group, you know? And I always like make sure to tell this, and I'm sure you do too. Like, listen, charity fatigue is real. Like you will wear out the group. So like, if you're not doing things that the entire community is passionate about, if you're not doing things, and if they're not meeting you halfway, if you're doing like 75% of the work and they're just like giving you a couple, like a document folder full of assets and that's it.
And they're not helping you along the journey. That's the other thing, is that like a lot of them just want and it's not to say that like you can, like St. Jude Live is a perfect example that so many creators join in on it, which is next month. I'm participating again with SideQuest, but St. Jude Live they don't do usually direct partnerships unless like the top tier, like Gigantosaurus. But you know, you can still, you know, it's vetted. We all know that they're an amazing company, but there's a lot of smaller charities that are not even like charities, and you know, they reach out to you and they just want to get as many streamers in their number, and you have to be careful. And I know Tiltify vets them too. I've had some try to do it without Tiltify. They're like, oh, we'll do it through your PayPal and then you'll just move it over. I'm like, that is red flag everywhere. No money should ever be in the streamer's hands ever for charity events. It goes into Tiltify or soft giving or whatever, and the streamer never touches it. So there's a lot of red flags in the industry that you want to look out for. And I completely agree with you. Like, you want someone who wants you, who wants you for like being a part of something bigger, and not, oh, I just saw your Tiltify. Hey, I saw, how are you? You know, like, I've had people who don't even know my name. And I find that, like, you can't even do 1 second of research to at least message me with my name. You don't even address me as Poop Witch. You're just like, hi, streamer. Like, you know, like,
hello,
ew,
streamer.
Like, ew, like, no. So I do really believe in, and also going back to charity fatigue, I agree. You know, charity fatigue is real, not just for the community, but for the streamer too. Because you're like me, you go hard for charity, and it's at the end, you're like, I just gave birth. You know?
Yeah.
So
you're like, and I'm going to go
tired.
spend 2 weeks nursing this baby. Which is probably just us sitting here playing Stream Raiders for a while. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yes. Decompress after, like, fully immerse yourself in, like, I feel like you sort of, at the end of it, you've all gone on this huge journey, and you're like, okay. Ooh, we could just breathe and, like, all right, we did. Because it's also, you know, we're both very hype streamers. We're both, like, you know, gung-ho and excited. And I do think that also, it lends itself to charity streaming, but it also, you feel like you can't ever have, like, an off night where maybe you're like, you know, I don't know, you feel like crap that day, you know, and you're just like, because you want to keep going for, you know, you want to push. At least that's how I feel.
Cool. And I don't know. I mean, I'm sure your community knows, and my community knows too. But like, I think a lot of people that aren't part of charity communities, I don't think they realize how much work you're doing to get it started. You know, like behind the scenes. Yeah. And then, like, if it's not going well, which is not really like a thing, but if it's not going well, it's usually because like you were overstretched, or you were, you know, sometimes just not passionate enough as I probably should have been. I've learned that pretty quickly. Like, if this is something that I want to do, like, I love working with Starlight Children's Foundation. They do such an amazing job of like doing these big programs, but then also like, but they still come into chat and they say hi, and I get emails that are like personalized. They're not just like somebody like, you know, Control F'd my name and then just pasted it in an email. Like, they actually are like written to me, you know? That's important to me, because I don't care if we only raise $5. I still felt like we had a really amazing partnership. And some people just don't do that, you know?
And every dollar, it matters for charity.
Every dollar. Absolutely. Doesn't matter at all. But I want to know that I'm not just like
being used in a way.
I don't want to be like, just like I don't know.
Notch on their belt. It's a weird thing, but I've had a lot of
I was thinking like a drug mule. Like, I'm just like passing money across.
It's true, but I really have had a lot of experiences that left me feeling like they're trying to get through me to my community, and I will literally go to war. And I'm not trying to say that it could just be like me and the charity liaison didn't vibe. It could be like, you know, I don't, and that's fine. But like, if they are using, if I'm the face of my community, then this charity hired this person and they're the face of that charity, right? So if I am, you know, saying this is what I want, this is what I feel, let's work together, let's do this, and I don't feel it's reciprocated, I do feel like, you know, you know what I mean? Like, you can feel that differentiation between someone who just saw your Tiltify number and somebody who's like, hey, I want to be a part of this journey with this person, and like, let me do my research, let me talk to them about their goals, like, you know, and work together.
I just was remembering an email I got last year that was like, hello, Seat Up Gaming. I just noticed that you were playing Stardew Valley. Like, they clearly like can fill in all the blanks.
That is so funny.
I was like,
oh my God.
I was like, this is it. But like, there's somebody at that company that said, this is how we're going to find people to raise money for us.
Oh my goodness. I mean, it's true. You get a lot of those. That's so funny. I love that.
I noticed you were playing Stardew Valley in the charity category. You were just like,
that's so fun. I do think that like things, you know, I think charity streaming is one of the most incredible like things you could do with your community too, because I feel like, you know, you're deciding to say, hey, I'm going to put aside, you know, do you do streaming full time?
No, okay. I have a full-time, this is totally part-time fun for me.
Got it. So, for even though it doesn't matter, because you still, I'm sure, make income from your stream as well.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Still, right. So you're still, saying, all right, I'm going to put aside whatever this could be, and I'm going to focus my attention on something else. So that is a thing that not everyone can do. It really, I hate when people are like, if you don't do charity streams, blah, blah, blah. Like, people could do whatever they want with their communities, and some people financially cannot afford to do charity events for weeks, for months. Like, they can't take the income hit, and I totally understand that. But on the flip side, I'm like, if you are able to, it really is so rewarding. It's such an incredible way to use your time, to use your energy towards, because you feel like you're a part of something bigger, you're helping people, and the ripple effect from your corner of Twitch can be enormous. Like, you could change people's lives, save people's lives, just for you, dancing around like a nincompoop eating Bean Boozled, all of a sudden you're like saving someone's life, Yeah. And that's an amazing thing. I love that so much.
I do too. Just the like ability to know. I love, one of my favorite things to tell people is like the breakdown of like, hey, that $10 bought books, or that $5 was somebody's meal. Like, because when they provide that information, I think it's just so much. I don't know. It just is so like, right? It's so enriching to be able to be like, we did that.
Your donation literally provided mental health counseling for 2 people. Like, that feels like so impactful when you utilize it in that way, when you say it in that way. And I love that so much. So going forward with your sort of like goals, you have goals for where you see yourself, what you see your community doing?
Yeah. I'm in a kind of unique, I feel like I keep kind of saying to myself, you're in your sophomore year of high school, where you were a freshman last year, and now you're kind of just like, we got to figure out where our locker's at, and we kind of know where things are at. But I've been like I said, I've been really empowered by being like, the only walls that can stop me are the ones I put up. And so I've been trying to think about beyond those walls, right? Like, what does it mean to, maybe create my own charity event that I get people involved in versus just me doing solo stuff. Like, what is it going to look like if I like acted as like a, liaison between this and 4 or 5 other streamers, that kind of thing I haven't really done yet. So I've been looking at different ways to kind of grow that piece of it, where I can maybe, because there's so many people that are like, I'm sure people have reached out to you the same way. Like, I love what you do. I don't know how you do it. I'm not even sure how to get started. And I'm like, it's really so simple. But also too, like, I don't know, maybe I could show you. Do you want to hop into a call for like 30 minutes? I can help you get it set up, or look around until the fight is like, people don't even really have like the first clue how to get started. And I think that kind of thing was where I want to maybe like,
I love totally seeing you do that.
I love training. I love doing training. I love doing that. So like, being able to just like help people get like on board with something along those lines would be awesome.
Can I be real with you? I've done charity for about a year now. And every time I set up my Tiltify, I forget how to do it. I'm like, I don't remember what I'm doing every single time. I'm like, I have to recalibrate my brain to remember. And I do charity events every other month for almost a year. I mean, I take the winter off. We call it hibernation. We take the winter off. But I do it almost every other month for the whole year. And so every single month I'm like, how did I do these? Like, what am I supposed to type in here again? And it's sort of funny because I feel like it is an intimidating thing to try to set up everything, if you have Stream Elements or Streamlabs, and sync them together, and then make your alerts and make your overlays. And it can be really intimidating. And I do think that I could totally see you sitting, having like, I feel like you would be like the best liaison for how to do this. Like, I feel like you have that energy that people will listen to, but also it won't be like dull. You'll be excited about it, and you'll be passionate about it. Yeah.
I think you just need somebody to be like, and I don't want to watch a bunch of YouTube videos where somebody pitches their channel for 10 minutes before they get to the meat. Like, I just want somebody to be like, all right, you want to do thing? It's real simple. Here's 10 clicks.
Right.
At its base level, that's literally all you would need to do. But like, I recognize that there's so much ways to personalize, and do so many cool things. I mean, Tiltify really has like, you know, made it even in recent time, like they totally changed that like overlay setup and everything like that to make it super easy. I still forget how to do it. So you know what I mean?
Me too. I don't know why I feel like every time I try to like remember for real, I'm like, okay, I feel like I have to have this down. I've done this like 10, 12, I don't know how many, I've got to have had this down. And I look at it and I'm like, but it is, they are making it easier. It used to be much more complicated. It used to be where, you know, you had to like resync things and do them on your own. And it was very complicated. So I do think it's gotten better. And I think that the more people who want to do charity streaming, they'll keep releasing more fun, interesting things. Like they'll release overlays and they'll release, you know, special, even more alerts, even more overlay options, and they'll keep allowing you to personalize it even more and more. And I think that I can see it going to a place where, like, I hope one day everyone will be a charity streamer. You know, I think that'd be awesome.
Well, you know, it's I think it's SideQuest's motto is like gaming does good, right?
Yeah, charity.
Yeah, like it really can't, like it even if you like do, even if you're not even like, even if you didn't raise any money at all, you're still bringing awareness. You're still bringing attention to the focus. And I think that people are intimidated about having to set a large goal.
Yeah.
I would much rather see somebody be like, we're going to just try to raise $50 tonight. And then somebody like me is going to come in and I'll be like, I'm going to give you $100.
I'm going to do it. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then and then those people are going to be like, you know, absolutely so overwhelmed by it. Yeah. And then I'll be like, okay, now stretch your goal. Like, see where you can go. Right. And even if you only raise like $150 that whole night, how cool was that you blew your goal out of the water? You know, like, you don't have to be like, we're going to raise $1,000 tonight. Okay. Well, I mean, also, you
could. I also just think that because my community makes fun of me because I always set goals that are, for them, they're low. For me, my butthole puckers. I'm like, but I always, you know, I would rather us hit a goal and feel really excited about that, but then we don't hit the goal and people are disappointed. I'd rather hit achievable goals that feel realistic and possible than, you know, make these gigantic monster size things and then I feel like people are like let down. I'd rather, and like I agree, if you set a goal for $50 and you hit $100, you're gonna be like, I doubled my goal. But if you made it 100 and you only hit half, you're like, oh, we're halfway there. But like, and that's still exciting because it's still $50. But I also feel like achievable goals are always super exciting and super you feel like rewarded at the end. So we only have a couple minutes left, so I want to ask you other questions. Okay, I do this weird thing at the end of the podcast where I usually ask random questions. It's rapid fire. CW, ready?
Yeah, let's go.
Favorite color?
Blue.
Is it like the blue that's like in both
I like this like right here.
Both of our blues in our room right now? Okay, perfect.
Absolutely.
Lucky number?
Ooh, 16?
Ooh, why? Interesting.
I don't know. I think growing up I was like, oh, that's like when I can drive. Like I kind of attached it to that. Yeah. Okay,
I kind of love that you're like, oh, I don't know.
I actually don't know, but I know that's real because it literally was just like out of my mouth. Like I was like.
You remember in Friends where Phoebe's like, I'm gonna ask, was that in Friends where she's like, I'm gonna ask you rapid fire questions and you're just gonna answer and then is that, or am I hallucinating?
No, that feels like that feels like a Friends plot. Absolutely.
It definitely is. Oh my God, Friends. Anyways, what is your favorite food?
Ooh, that's like a tacos or like a nacho, something crunchy with a goo on it
with cheese. Stop! Now I'm hungry. Why are you doing this to me? Well, I asked you the question, so why am I doing this? I was like,
to be fair, you did it to yourself.
This is like, you know what I love about the rapid fire at the end? It feels like we go from like talking about like real, you know, like serious, and then now it's like in the date portion where it's like, what's your favorite color? Like,
I like kayaking.
Oh my God.
I don't like
outdoors too? Like,
no, I don't. I'm terrified of it. Thank you.
Okay, so I want to ask you, what's your favorite TV show?
Oh, I love some Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Don't talk to me right now with your mouth.
But one of my favorite ones that I can watch that I've watched over and over again is The Good Place. It's so good.
Never seen that before.
Oh, Oh my God, you've never seen The Good Place?
No, I don't even know what it's about. I don't think I've even heard of it.
Okay, it is I as a actor, it is some of the best writing in a sitcom ever. They do such a good job. Basically, these people wake up in The Good Place. It's like Kristen Bell and
okay, I love her.
Right. So they wake up in The Good Place and they're like learning how to function there, except Kristen Bell realizes that maybe she's not supposed to be in The Good Place. Ooh. And so like, it's just like, there's just like this, there's like a lot of like,
is it funny?
Oh my God, it's so funny. It is so funny. It is.
I love this concept so much.
It is so, and they're just literal like plot twists that you don't see coming.
Is it like Truman Show, but like not depressing and terrifying?
Yeah. It's so good. It's so good. It's so good. And and at the end of the day, this whole plot is about people like trying to like, it's funny, but like, it's also like the world is set up against us for us to be good people, So it's just like people trying. It's so good. Oh my God, it's so good. Such a good.
Can I just be serious? I've never even heard of it. Like, I've never heard of it. I'm upset with myself.
It's so good.
I love this concept too. I think that sounds like it could be hilarious, but also kind of like moving in a way. Like, is it kind of?
Yeah, it's really good.
Kind of, right? Like, I feel like it'd be introspective.
And it's one of those things where they were like, the show creator said, we're doing 4 seasons,
Yeah. So they ended it when it ended
it the way they wanted it.
I was just talking to my tattoo artist about how
good.
My tattoo artist put on Grey's Anatomy. Talk about dragging a corpse. I was like, certain shows just drag, like Walking Dead. They just drag it on for monetary value, and it's painful. I love shows like Breaking Bad, that Buffy the Vampire Slayer, that end when they feel like they have a natural end, although people argue about Buffy, but some people say season 5 should have been the end. I think not, okay? But you said Buffy and then you just moved on. Like, how dare you?
Season 6 is so good, though.
So good. Okay, you said Buffy to me and we only have like 5 minutes left, so how dare you? Like,
you said you have a Buffy tattoo? Is that what you said? I
literally have Be Brave Live from The Gift season 5 season finale on my arm, and I'm getting the scythe from season 7 tattooed on me soon.
I literally will go watch the Willow versus Glory fight on YouTube like once a month.
I love you. I am in love with you. Can we time out? Wait, I'm just letting you know, my whole entire poop coven is rolling their eyes at me. They're like, they didn't say Buffy. Don't say Buffy. But I need to ask you, are you Bangle or Spuffy?
What was that again?
Buffy Angel or Spike Buffy?
No, I'm Buffy Angel because Spike Buffy.
Yes.
Yeah. Spike Buffy was really good for a little bit because
you can't get over that first love. I get it. No. And it's such a rare thing. Everyone's always like, but Spike was a better man. And let me tell you, I know. He helped her when he didn't have a soul. He went out and sought his own soul out. I get it. But hello, David Boreanaz, I'm sorry. Like, shut up. Everybody leave me alone with him. Everyone's like, he's not a good man. Okay, I'm going on a tangent. I'm sorry.
Have you watched Angel? Like, did you ever watch it?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Sure.
And what's funny is I actually didn't enjoy it like I did. I think that Buffy's just the most superior show to ever exist on the planet.
I think that first season and a half of Angel is hard to get through, but there's some really endearing stuff.
What happens with Cordelia is egregious.
And in the light of everything we know, what's happening in that time, it's
even worse. It's even worse.
Yeah.
Terrible. We don't discuss in this house. We love Charisma Carpenter and F Joss Whedon. Sorry, podcast time. I try not to curse. It's so hard. But also, so I'm gonna watch The Good Place. It's called The Good Place, right?
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
You know what? It's one of those things that got overshadowed at the Emmys for so long.
Really?
Like, all those actors got nominated for like the 4 or 5 years of the show's on.
Yeah.
And they just got overshadowed.
Wow.
By I frankly bet people that deserve to win, but they were just like always probably the number 2, the number 3, the number 2. They're just it's just so good. And there's most of the people, even like the bad people, are redeemable in your eyes.
I'm excited. I want a new show. I'm excited. I've been watching other crap, so this is going to be something really fun. Okay, and then last question I want to ask you is, it's not really a question as much as, do you have any like advice, words of wisdom, or something, a mantra you live by that you want to share with everybody?
Ooh,
That's kind of a question. I don't know why I don't know what words are. Like, that is literally a question mark at the end of that statement. I'm like, is it a question? I don't know.
So I do vision boards like every year for, so this is my vision board right here for the year. But the one in the middle, it's already yours, is like one that I'm kind of like trying to focus on. I'm in the, kind of like a life start over right now.
Yeah.
I divorced. I'm moving into, I just bought a house this week, like all sorts of wild stuff.
You are dropping bombs on me.
I know.
Are you kidding me?
You're like 3 seconds.
You bought a house?
Yeah, I did.
Week?
Yeah, I closed on Monday.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
That is amazing. So you really are restarting your journey.
Yes. And I have done a ton of therapy over the past 3 years, but a lot of it's been focused on like, let's let that go. We can, whatever I want could already be mine, instead of like living in the past. So that's kind of that's where I'm at right now.
Oh my God. And first of all, I'm really proud of you, because I do think that, people who go through, and I guess you could say some, I feel like, and I don't want to put words in anyone's mouth, but I do feel like divorce is traumatic. Mm-hmm. Even if it's mutual, because that's like a chapter of your life that is changing now. So I feel like I know that like my 2 cents is garbage, but like I'm really proud of you. Like, good for you for coming through that, taking care of your mental health, and buying a home, which is so hard, and buying a home and so hard. And you are creating a new chapter for yourself. So you should be really proud. I'm proud of you.
I feel really good about it. I started my day talking to my mentor today. We had breakfast, and I get to like kind of end on this good note. It's like one of those like I feel kind of full circle notes, kind of talking about the same thing. But I just you can already have it, And the other thing, like I want to point out real quick, like I know everybody knows this. The last 2 to 3 years for every single person have been a nightmare.
Brutal.
And you have to remember that. Like you have to remember that it is okay if you don't pick up the hobbies you wanted to do. It is okay if you didn't learn a language like some people did. It is fine if you gained 50 pounds. Like, we'll figure it out. We spent 3 years getting here. We don't have to figure it out in the next 6 months.
We don't have to unravel. And that's actually what I said recently. Like, a lot of people are like, well, just get over it. Just get over it. I'm like, you don't get to erase the traumas that some of us, really all of us, endured because you're over it. You don't get to do that. And like you said, this hasn't been 3 days. This has been 3 years of our lives, and it's changed us all in different ways, some more than others. But really the fabric of our reality has changed. So it's okay. And I love that you're like, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
It is okay.
Love that.
Any growth is growth, right?
Yes.
Any like the rising tide raises all ships. You know what I mean? Like any little bit will help. So
love that. Okay, I want to say thank you so much, C-Dub. First of all, for just being patient, because I was so late. So thank you for doing this podcast with me. And you're actually my first podcast in like a month, because this April was so brutal to me personally that I haven't been able to be here for a bunch of Wednesdays. So I want to say thank you, because I felt nervous, because I was like, I'm rusty. I haven't done a podcast in a month. So thank you for just being wonderful and kind, and for sharing your insight and everything. And thank you, C-Dub. This is C-Dub Gaming right here. I am Poop Witch X, and this VOD podcast will go on my YouTube, which is just Poop Witch X, and we'll see you next time. Thank you so much, C-Dub. I'm very grateful. Thank you.
I really appreciate it. Thanks, Haley.
Bye, Poops.
Bye.